bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Which things there are an allegory, for these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar. Verse 25. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. Verse 26.
This is the one I want you to pay attention to. Go ahead.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Now listen to this here. But Jerusalem, which is above. So he said, I'm not talking about the Jerusalem over there on the ground that you're talking about. He says, but Jerusalem, which is what?
Free.
Oh, no. But Jerusalem, which is what?
Above.
Above is free, which is the mother of what?
Us all.
So if you're talking about the queen, if you wanted to really drill down to the queen, you'd be talking about this. So when they call Mary the mother of Jesus queen, you already know they're off. And they're not really worshiping. They think they are, but they're worshiping another spirit. For time's sake, that you just as time, because I'm on a timer that the Catholic people don't even, many of them don't even realize they're inadvertently worshiping a demonic entity that has been around from Genesis to Revelation, just under different aliases, but the same demon. Now I'm going to send Deacon Marshall to Ephesians 2, verse 2, and then I'm going to send Minister Rivers to Nahum, chapter 3. Deacon Marshall, Ephesians 2, verse 2, I'll have you read it twice, and I'll stop you on the second go-around because I want to show them something.
Ephesians 2, verse 2. Where in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit now worketh in the children of disobedience.
So he's telling you that this spirit right here works in the children of disobedience, whether they're disobeying you, whether you're disobeying God. He says that's the same spirit that works with you, your children. You ever met a daddy that's hard-headed and a son that's hard-headed too? Oh, okay. I'll let you ponder that. Go ahead and read it again, man of God, because I want to deal with this quickly before I go to Nahum 3.
Verse 2. Where in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
He says it's a spirit. It's a what?
Spirit.
It's a spirit. See, you can't beat it out. You got to rebuke it out. You can't counsel this out. You got to bind it up and cast it out. See, but it's in the air. It's in the air. It's in the air. It's in the realm of influence, the thoughts, the systems. It's in culture. You have to first get this spirit under control before you can control your environment. If you don't get this prince of the power of the air under control, you will never have control in your house. You wonder why your husband cheating. You wonder why your wife cheating. You wonder why your children crazy. It's this spirit here. I'm going to jump for a moment. I'm going to Nahum chapter 3, verse 4, because I want to show you what God calls this country a whore. And I want to deal with this country very quickly before I transition into Psalms 115, which I'll give Deacon Marshall to grab from me. Nahum chapter 3, verse 4 in the Living Bible. Woman of God, when you have it, let me know.
Amen. Verse 4. All this because Nineveh sold herself to the enemies of God.
Pause. Start over because this is heavy.
All this because Nineveh sold herself to the enemies of God.
Now, how could Nineveh sell herself to the enemies of God? Nineveh is a country. Nineveh is a what?
Country.
As a country. And it says Nineveh sold herself to the enemies of God. Go ahead, woman of God. We ain't going to have time. Go ahead.
The beautiful and faithless city, mistress of deadly charms, enticed the nations with her beauty, then taught them all to worship her false gods.
Taught them all to worship. Taught them all to worship. Taught them all to worship her false gods. Go ahead, Minister Rivers.
Bewitching people everywhere.
He says, I have a problem with this place. He says they're teaching and corrupting the whole world. He says witchcraft can influence entire nations. This confirms that there is territorial control. Now, today, I want to deal in a moment the spirit over your area. In just a moment, I'm going to deal with that. Psalms 115, verse 16, Deacon Marshall, Minister Rivers, give me Genesis 1. I tell you, I needed all my time today because I needed to show y'all something. Because if I don't show y'all in the Bible, you'll think that the reason. Let me just give this example very quickly. Minister Rivers, I'm going to Genesis 1 in a moment. Deacon Marshall, I'm going to Psalms 115. I remember us planting a huge amount of land. I can't remember. Well, maybe a couple hundred acres. It was huge. And I remember we had planted it and we were plowing it, breaking it up. I don't recall any major problems then, but it was time to plant and then it came time to harvest it. And I remember and some of y'all know the story, and I remember as we were going in and trying to at this particular point, we were trying to harvest our melons out of the field. I remember that one of the tractors threw a spark. That spark ignited in the air, like was fire in the air, and it looked like it was being carried, but was like somebody's hand was carrying it. Dropped one, picked up another one, carried it, dropped one. So I told the guys that were working with us, I said, let's run those other pieces of machinery over there so we can put the fire out. All right, did that. The fire, we couldn't get the fire out. Ended up having to call the fire department. Fire department said what we said. We never see anybody watermelon field catch on fire. That was one problem. Then we went back to try to harvest again. Every tractor break down. My tractor, the other tractor, all tractors breaking down. Then something else happened. I'll deal with that later. I started fasting that very night. I said, God, I'm going to go on a fast. I said, I need to understand what's going on. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Field on fire, tractor equipment breaking down. It'd be running before you get there. And then when you take it off the machine, off the trailer to put it on the ground, it stopped running. As I began to pray and fast, nothing happened the first day. Nothing at all. Nothing happened. I didn't hear nothing from God the second day. The third day, as I closed my eyes, I saw spiritual forces, old, ancient spiritual forces coming out of the ground, literally coming out of the ground. One of them, he had a armor on that had cuts and his armor was broken. Like he had half of a shield on his head, like the thing you put on your head. He had half of that on. You could tell something had hit it and cracked the other piece off. The Lord told me, he said, these are ancient spirits. He said, they own this territory. So you can buy a house and own the house, but you don't own the spiritual ground that is on. I said, what must I do? He says, you ought to bind them. So as I began to pray against them and bind them, I went out there the next day. My mom and dad was there with me. I went out, not that day, they were there when I told them what happened, but the Lord showed me. I went out the next day with prayer oil. I anointed all four corners of the field. The Lord showed me that night the spirits going back in the ground. They went 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 foot, 100 foot. They were so deep in the ground. He said, you'll be able to get your harvest and they won't bother you no more. How does three spirits stop a tractor, set a fire, invade my harvest, cause people to steal from me? Three spirits. Because you have not dealt with the spiritual arena, you don't understand. You don't understand until you bind, until you disarm, bind, gag, silence, that they are a problem for you. You think your boss don't like you. Your boss has had nothing to do with your boss. The demon that runs your boss don't like you. You think you always have money problems. It ain't that. It's the demon that works through your wife or your husband or your family causes, the Bible says you put your money in a bag with holes in it. Until you properly address the demonic entity that is coming against you in secret, you will never be in public what you're supposed to be.